Mike Bohn here with Michael Bisping in the aftermath of the UFC 285 weigh-ins. In the books, 26 of 28 fighters missed weight. We had 2 misses, but obviously got to talk about Jon Jones, our first look at him on the scale as a heavyweight. Mike, what did you think of Jon up there?
Yeah, look, listen, he looks a little softer, you know, but that doesn't mean it's not conducive to a performance. Fedor Emelianenko was no six-pack model. Tyson Fury, again, you know, the best boxer on the planet right now in terms of heavyweights, you know, and he moves, he's very, very fast. So just because he's a little softer, you can't read too much into that.
DC as well?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Good example. And Ciryl Gane, I think he'd be one of those guys, even if he never fought, he probably never has to go to a gym. I think it's just in his DNA. He's that kind of guy. So you can't read too much into that. I'm expecting a great fight, though.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And obviously, you've been here covering it for BT Sport. You do great work over there. And I'm just curious what you've thought of Jon this whole fight week, though. We don't get to see him too much. And, you know, he comes in, spoke at Media Day, was there very hyped up in front of the crowd at the press conference. Does he seem in a good place to you? What's kind of your analysis on just his demeanor?
Yeah, no, his demeanor's great. You know, yesterday at the press conference, came into the crowd, was taking pictures. He's enjoying it. We spoke to him for BT Sport, and I might be wrong, but I kind of sensed a little relief. You know, he's been away for 3 years. We know about the headlines that he's had whilst he's been away. So I think maybe he was nervous about what was going to happen. So when he came back and there was so much love from the fans, they were going crazy for him. So I think it was a little sense of relief. Now, in terms of the performance that we're expecting, I think we're going to see an incredible Jon Jones. He talks about not having the fear of those last 3 fights at light heavyweight, and I kind of get that. You know, maybe he was getting complacent. He was running roughshod through the division, defeating everybody. You know, when you literally haven't been defeated for that long at that level of competition, and you're beating Gustafsson when apparently you weren't even training, you know, then maybe you got to start slacking off and getting complacent, you know, because he's only human. Against Ciryl Gane and at heavyweight, and after being away for 3 years, he ain't taking this lightly. He isn't going to be complacent. He's going to want to come back and show the world, because he believes he's been overlooked. He believes he's been forgotten about. He believes they're not holding him in the GOAT conversation anymore. They're talking about Islam and Volkanovski and people like that. That pisses him off. You see him jump up on Twitter all the time. So he's motivated to come back and show the world what he's still got.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like, he could have stayed away, and if he never fought again, he would have this great legacy, right? Like, we'd all think of him as everything he's done, but he's taken a huge risk here, right? Like, if he comes back and he loses this fight, how does that change how people perceive him at this point? So do you kind of commend him for coming back and taking this risk and moving up, and how does this fight, one way or the other, affect his legacy?
I don't commend him necessarily for coming back. I mean, this is what we do. He's a fighter, right, you know, and
I guess I meant more so at this weight.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I was going to get to that, you know, and making weight as you're getting older, it gets harder. Yeah. It does. And he's a big light heavyweight. He was always a gigantic light heavyweight. All they had to do was not cut weight, and he'll be a 225, 230 heavyweight. So it's not that big of a stretch. You know, but you talk about the GOAT thing and all the rest of it. If he wins this, I think people have to call him the GOAT. I really do. But if he loses, fans are fickle. If he loses this fight, people will say, oh, look at that. He's in his prime still. He's only 35. For a heavyweight, that's still, you know, you're still competitive there. So it's not like, well, he was getting older. Look what he did in his prime. It will be, here's what they'll do. I'm not saying I agree with this, but the fans at large will say, look at those last 3 fights at light heavyweight. They weren't that impressive. In fact, I think Thiago Santos beat him. Look at him when he went to heavyweight. He got beat there. So he was never that good all along, which I think, for the record, is absolute bullshit, right? He is that good all along. He just is. Whether you like him or hate him, you can't deny what he's done inside the octagon. Multiple generations of world champions, and he's beaten them one after the other. That can't be denied.
Yeah, he beat the guys who came before him, the guys who came up at the same time as him, and the guys who came up after, so that's huge. But, I mean, as far as, like, the fight itself, how do we even analyze what to expect from him? I mean, obviously you can look at certain things from, you know, what he's done in the past, but the added weight, you know, fighting bigger guys, longer guys, it's going to be very different. So, like, do you even have a grasp on what he's going to look like in there?
I've got it. I know exactly what's going to happen.
Okay, let's hear it. Everyone pay attention.
This is what's going to happen in the fight. It just dawned on me before. Jon's very smart. Yep. He's a very high fight IQ. He's very experienced. He knows how to win fights. It's going to be lackluster to start. Jon's going to be very elusive, right? Cyryl's the guy that moves a lot, right? Cyryl's the striker. Jon is going to make Ciryl come to him because going forward, he's going to go through the danger. You know what I mean? Might walk onto a shot or whatever it is. He's not going to shoot takedowns from the other side of the octagon. Even walking into a clinch could be dangerous. So he's going to dance around a lot. He's going to move a lot, and he's going to make Ciryl be the aggressor. And if he keeps distance and he makes Ciryl be the aggressor, Ciryl comes in, swings a shot, a kick, whatever it is. When that misses, say if I'm throwing a punch here, it misses, then look at this. Then you've got a big area. You've got a big target to shoot on, to clinch, to take down. So he's going to dance around, he's going to frustrate Ciryl, he's going to make Ciryl expose himself, and then he's going to look to take him down. Will it be successful? That's not what I'm saying, but that'll be the game plan and the strategy.
Very interesting. And on the opposite side of that, Ciryl, we've seen that he is willing to be very patient in there, and he likes to counter-strike and things like that. So, like, is that a possible ingredient for a lackluster fight? As you
No. It's not going to be a lackluster fight. It's going to be... It's going to be a very hesitant... anxious start from both men, and it will be must-see TV. I'm not saying it's going to be a lackluster fight. I'm saying both guys know how dangerous each other are, you know, and you can't say Ciryl Gane's not fucking dangerous, part of my language, you know, because he is, ridiculously, and Jones knows this, and he knows the power he has. And likewise, Ciryl Gane can be patient. We've seen that. So they're going to be very tentative, you know, it's going to be high drama, you know what I mean, and then when it hits the fan, it's going to hit the fan in a major way.
Yeah. So what does Ciryl have to do to maybe bring Jon into his game plan here?
Well, this is the same thing. It's cat and mouse, isn't it? It's like who goes first. It's a game of chicken. You know what I mean? You've got to drown out the booze because there will maybe be some booze in round one. Yeah. You know what I mean? People, oh, come on. Oh, the crowd, oh, you start fighting your pussy. You've got to ignore all of that. You're here to win. You're here to make history, cement your legacy, become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Both men are capable of winning these fights with their respective styles. Cyryl's way better on the feet. Jones is a better all-round mixed martial artist, right? It's who can execute to the finest degree.
So are you allowed to make predictions with BT Sport? And if so, can you...
Yeah.
Okay, so who wins this? How's it happen?
I can make an argument for both ways. I'm just doing this not because I think it's cool, because it doesn't look cool. It
does look cool, though.
No, it doesn't. Hey, what's up, John? Mike. It doesn't look cool at all. I've got knee replacements. I've been standing on my feet for goddamn hours now. My knees are killing, but this alleviates the tension. Yes. Not the sexual tension, Mike.
As Laura Sanko walks past.
Well, what's up, Laura Sanko? Do you like my stance? Like the way I'm standing?
You can hop in here, Laura.
Come on, get over it. Come on, Laura. Come on.
We're gonna Captain Morgan.
Yeah, let's do it.
No, sexual tension.
Look. Not only legitimately trying to steal my job, stealing my interview. Get the fuck out of here, Sanko.
I really wish you'd been on that show. We drank the entire time. We had a bartender, and it's bad.
See, I don't get invited to the fun shows.
You know, well, it's because all the alcohol would be gone.
Well, you know what I mean? Taking everyone's jobs. You know, geez Louise, what's she like? Taking my beer as well, apparently. I like Ciryl so much, I don't want to say it, but Jones.
I think you have to pick him, and if Ciryl wins, I don't think we'd be surprised, but like, we've never seen this guy take a legitimate loss. I feel like he's the smart pick.
No, for sure, exactly. And styles make fights, and wrestling is such a key component of mixed martial arts. You can't deny that fact, and he can do it. And he's out-wrestled many great wrestlers. DC, Ryan Bader, there's plenty of others, but they're the two that spring to mind. Took DC down, for crying out loud, you know? And I heard from Henry Cejudo that in training camp they brought in all these, I forget the names now, but I'd heard of them, like top of the food chain wrestlers, and Jon's manhandling them as well, you know? So it's going to be tough for Ciryl. But I do see a world where we could see Jon Jones unconscious in the octagon. That is a possibility. But if you're asking me where I put my money, I put it on Jones.
Yeah, I agree. And we could talk about this card, this fight for days, but no, me neither.
No, it's a great card. But
I've
been talking all morning.
Okay, so what's the one other thing on this card that stands out the most to you? The fight that you want to see, the fighter that you want to see compete outside the main event?
Well, the core-main event's incredible. Love Valentina Shevchenko. Such a fan of her, I really am. Just everything about her is just incredible. But I don't need to go into that. Shavkat Rakhmonov. Yeah, he's Bo Nickel. Yeah. How's he going to do? I think he's going to do fine. I think he's going to do great. but it's going to be interesting. But Shavkat Rakhmonov, undefeated, coming out of Kazakhstan. Jeff Neal missed weight, sadly, but 16-0, all finishes. Gets a win over Jeff Neal. If he gets a win over Jeff Neal, future contender on our hands, potential champion.
Yeah, let's go. It's going to be a huge night at UFC 285 here in Las Vegas. You can catch our coverage on MMA Junkie, and then, of course, Michael Bisping's on BT Sport, his YouTube channel, everywhere else. Subscribe, like, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Too, if you want.
Go on, then.